Hi, welcome to your Strategic Dining Services online video training. Today, our objective is to take you through the steps of producing stocks from scratch in your communities. We ask our communities to produce stocks from scratch for 3 reasons. 1, it speaks to the quality and commitment that you have to fresh products. 2, lower sodium. By producing stocks and sauces from scratch, you're going to reduce your sodium intake for your residents by up to 2/3. And last, as you become proficient at this process and producing stocks 1 or 2 times a week, you're going to save money. So let's get started. All right, to produce a beef stock, we just need a few ingredients. The first is beef bones. Now, when you order these beef bones from your purveyor, they typically come in a 40 to 50 pound box. Sometimes you can have them custom cut to different sizes, but this is the typical bones that you're going to receive. This is a 40-pound box, and you're going to start by placing them into either a roasting pan, on a sheet pan, or in a rondo like we have here. No need to brush them with oil or anything like that. They have a lot of fat on them. Then we have here some mirepoix. The mirepoix is 2 parts onion to 1 part celery, 1 part carrots. Depending on the stock that you're producing, it's going to drive the size of the cut. For large bones like this and a beef stock, which might cook for anywhere from 6 to 8 to even 24 hours, a large cut of your vegetables is perfect. If you notice here, we have some nice clean vegetables. The carrots have been peeled. There's no leaves in the celery and no skins on the onions. This is just a little step to kind of to prevent the bitterness that you might find in those trimmings. So we're going to pour the mirepoix over the top, and we're going to place that into an oven, a very hot oven, typically between 450 and 500 degrees, until they're nice and golden brown. Okay, we've allowed our bones to roast. They've taken about 45 minutes. We're going to remove those from the oven. You can see that they're nice and golden brown along with the vegetables. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to remove some of the bones so that I can remove the excess oil out of the pan. Then I want to remove the oil, the excess oil, out of the pan. And add the remaining mirepoix or vegetables to the pot. Okay, once the bones and mirepoix are in the pot, we're going to add some aromatics. But before we do that, we're going to deglaze this pan. All these crispy bits that have stuck to the bottom, we really want to get those out. They've got a lot of flavor, and they're going to also add some richness and color to our stock. Okay, as you deglaze this pan, you're going to scrape with either a wooden spatula or a rubber spatula. The reason is that they're very soft and they won't scrape the aluminum. If you use a stainless steel spatula or a stainless steel spoon, it's much harder than the aluminum, and you're going to end up with bits of your pot in your stock. Once you've got this scraped down and all those bits are off the bottom, you can see that you've developed some nice color, and we want to pour that into the stock. Now that we've scraped the pan and thrown the bones and the roasted mirepoix into the pot, we're going to add some aromatics, also known as a sachet. It's very basic, a few bay leaves, some peppercorn. I've added some whole garlic to this, some fresh thyme, and some parsley stems. If you don't have fresh thyme, it's okay to use a little bit of dried thyme, just cut back on the amount. Then we're going to add cold water. The reason we add cold water is if we added hot water at this point, it's going to solidify a lot of the impurities and blood that's in the dish, and it's going to cause for a cloudy stock. So want to add cold water, and we're going to bring the water just to the top of the bones. And the reason is you know, if you're making this in a tilt skillet or a steam kettle and you've added 40 pounds of bones and it only comes up halfway, you could make 20 gallons of stock by filling that pot all the way, but it's going to make for a weak stock. So use the top of your bones as kind of the measurement for the liquid. Okay? Then we're going to throw that on a heat, and what we can do is we'll put it on a medium-high heat at first and bring it up rather quickly to just to a boil. As soon as it comes to a boil, we'll turn that down to a simmer. Right? We'll give that a few minutes. In the process of making chicken stock, your primary ingredients is your chicken bones. And I say bones, but actually when you order these through your purveyor, they usually come two ways. One is backs, chicken backs, which is what we have here, which is primarily the backbone that's been split and occasionally a few necks in there. Or you can order them as bones, which are typically just the rib cage. Now, I prefer to have the backs. The backs have a little more cartilage, a little more gelatin in them. So if you can find those, that's what you want. If not, the bones, which is the carcasses, will be fine. They usually come in a 40-pound box like this. If you're making a roasted chicken stock, you don't need to rinse your bones first. For a plain white chicken stock, you'll want to rinse your bones just to take off some of the impurities and some of the blood, and then go from there. Next, we have some mirepoix. The mirepoix, again, being 2 parts onion to 1 part celery to 1 part carrots. A good measurement for the amount of mirepoix you need to bones is about 15%. So for a 40-pound case, you'll want anywhere from 6 to 8 pounds of mirepoix. As a reference, I say a 5-gallon bucket is a perfect size to prep. Then we have some aromatics, or sachet, which is classically bay leaf, peppercorn, thyme, and parsley stems. If you don't have fresh thyme, dried thyme, again, is fine. And then we also have a few garlic cloves here. First thing we need is a pot. Now I wanted to talk about the cooking vessel. Well, ideally what you want to do is have one of 3 things. 1, a tilt skillet. 2, a steam kettle. If you don't have either one of those, a large pot with a spigot on the bottom is a great investment to make this an easy process. We used to make our stocks twice a week, every Tuesday and Friday. That was a perfect setup. Our cooks and dishwashers knew that they needed to prep a 5-gallon bucket of mirepoix before they left. At the end of the shift, we would take and throw the chicken stock on. Everybody knew where to set the temperature, so it was perfect. We'd leave our hood system on. We'd let the security guard know at the front gate that we have a stock on overnight. The next morning we come in, it'd be ready to go. We take it off and it's ready for service. So ideally, that's the system you want to set up in your kitchen. So with these bones, we want to place them into a cooking vessel. Again, if you have a tilt skillet, that would be perfect. For demonstration purposes, I only have a small pot here. So we're going to add just some of the bones. Again, we're making a white stock, so we haven't roasted any of these. We're going to add the mirepoix, which is the celery, onions, and carrots, and the aromatics. Then we're going to, again, as we did in the beef stock, fill this up with cold water just to the top of the vegetables and the bones. That should be perfect. Goes on a heat source. Again, you want to bring this up somewhat quickly at first, just to a boil, and then immediately turn it down to a slow rolling simmer. For a chicken stock, we recommend a minimum of 4 hours. For a beef stock, anywhere from 8 to 24 hours. Our stock has come to a boil and we've turned it down to a slow simmer. What you're looking for is similar to this. It's just a slow rolling on one side of the stock. It should not be at a boil. When the stock comes to this point, especially on a beef stock, that's when I add my tomato paste or tomato product, and you want that tomato product in your beef stock to add a little acid to your stock. Please refer to the chart that we're going to show you on screen for cooking times of different stocks. Our stock has cooked overnight. The next day we come in and we're ready to strain the stock. This is simply done. If you're in a tilt skillet or a large pot with a spigot, you just want to place a pan with a china cup underneath, strain it out, reserving the liquid. Here I'm just going to pour this. Okay. Now, once the stock has been strained, we want to take this and put it into the cooler, usually overnight. If you need to do quick chilling methods, just follow your sanitation guidelines. Once the stock, we do have some stock here that has been chilled overnight, and you can see that the fat has solidified on top, and that's the final process of stock making, which is degreasing, which is taking the fat off, and that can usually be done with a skimmer or a slotted spoon. Once it's solidified, you just scrape it right off. You've got a stock that's 99% fat-free. Perfect. So these are the steps for producing stock in your communities. Hopefully you take the methods that we showed you in this video and apply them to your community. Producing stocks overnight 1 or 2 times a week is ideal. You'll find ways to 1, lower sodium for your residents, 2, save money, and 3, show a commitment to quality. I'm Jeff Kelly. Thanks for watching.